Hi my loves, so today I am back with another first impressions video, and today I'm doing a first impressions on the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. This is a new foundation from Maybelline and has gotten a lot of hype on YouTube recently. A lot of people really like it, so I'm hoping that I like it as well. I got mine at Target and it was $6.99. I was shocked when I went up to the little lady that checks me out and she said it was $6.99 because there was no price tag where it was, so I was gonna assume that it was like $10, $12. So I don't know if Target had it on sale or it's just $6.99 everywhere, but I was pleasantly surprised by the cheaper price tag because I really think some drugstore products are getting up to be really, really high, and it kind of defeats the purpose of the drugstore. So I was very happy that it is so affordable. They do have a dewy version of this because this one is the matte poreless. They have a dewy and something else. I forget what the other word they used for the dewy one was. I did decide to get the matte one even though I have dry skin because I tend to not like a dewy finish on my skin ever, even though it is dry, and a lot of times I feel as though it clogs my pores. I kind of react to a lot of dewy products, so I decided to go with the matte one because that's the type of foundation that I like and the finish that I like, but it does say that it is for normal to oily skin, so keep that in mind. And I got it in the color 235 Pure Beige, so I hope that this kind of works for me. They didn't have a full color range at Target, I guess because it has been very popular, so a lot of them were sold out, so this was kind of the closest one that I could find. And I know that Maybelline does have just like a regular Fit Me foundation that's not the matte and poreless kind, and I've never tried that, but I do know a lot of people like that. And that's been out forever, but I've never actually given it a try. So this is my first thing from the Fit Me line. So we will see if I like it. It is about 12 o'clock now, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to my face. You guys will watch me do it. I'm gonna use the Beauty Blender. And then I'll check back in with you guys maybe around 4 o'clock or so. And then again tonight before I go ahead and take my makeup off for the night to kind of give you guys my full thoughts on this product. So I do really, really hope I like it because I would love if I could fall in love with a drugstore foundation that was not so expensive. So let's go ahead and give it a try. I did already prime my skin with my Mirabella primer for face and eyes. I always use this or some sort of primer. I will never apply a foundation without a primer, so I use this as per usual. I'm going to apply this foundation like I apply all my other foundations. So I used a primer already. I'm gonna apply the foundation, and I am gonna set it with a powder because that's how I always apply my foundations. So to apply this, like I said, I am going to use a dampened beauty blender. This is typically how I apply my foundation. Sometimes I'll use a flat top kabuki, but I like to first try out my foundations with the beauty blender because that tends to be my favorite way to apply them because I think it gives the most natural finish. The one thing that does annoy me kind of right off the bat, and this is kind of the case with most drugstore foundations, but this does not have a pump. If you guys can see, it just kind of has a top that you twist off and then you kind of have to pour the foundation out. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and shake this up and kind of dot it all over the skin. You can already tell, I think, that the color is a little pink, but we'll see. We can probably fix that with powder, so I'm not too concerned. I don't really know how much of this to use because I don't really know if it's going to be full coverage or what, but we will see. I think this is actually marketed as medium to full coverage, where the dewy one was marketed as light to medium, which is why I got this one, because I really only like full coverage foundations. I feel like if you're gonna wear a foundation, you might as well full coverage. If I only wanted light coverage, I would just not wear a foundation. So I'm just doing tiny little dots all over my face, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the Beauty Blender and blend that all out. It's blending out very easily, which is nice. Definitely not hard to blend this foundation out at all. Okay, so right now I would say that it is about medium to full coverage. I think you could definitely build this up to be a little bit more full coverage. So for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry for a second and then put on a little bit just in the areas that I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, just to see if it builds well to really get that super full coverage look if you are interested in that. But upon my first application, I think it does give a really nice medium, almost full coverage, definitely like on the full end of medium coverage to your face. So far I do really like it. It is very mattifying on my face. Again, like I said, I have dry skin, so if you have super oily skin, I can't say that's gonna be super mattifying on your face, but for me, it definitely is super mattifying, so I do like that. I don't see any shine in my face or anything at all. Okay, so I just added a few extra drops where I feel like I need them. I'm gonna go ahead and blend that out. I normally just add a little bit of fuller coverage in my T-zone because that's what everyone sees when they look at you. Okay, yes, you can definitely build this up. Now it definitely looks very full coverage, so you can absolutely build this up to give a nice coverage to your skin. And keep in mind, the Beauty Blender does sheer out foundations because it is dampened. So like I said, it does give the most natural look, but it definitely does kind of sheer out the foundation just a smidge. So you can use like a flat top kabuki brush if you want to buff this out and make it more full coverage and kind of use less product. My favorite kabuki brush is this one from Mojo Beauty. This is their F8 flat top kabuki. I love this. So that's great for blending out foundation if you don't want to use a lot of foundation but still really get a full coverage foundation, because the Beauty Blender will sheer out your foundation a little bit. Okay, so now after the second coat, this is what it looks like. I do actually really like it right now. The color matches me pretty well. It's a little bit peachy, but I think I can definitely work with it with my powders and everything. I think that it'll be fine. Definitely is matte on my skin, so definitely an A+ for the matte part of it. As far as my pores, I still can like kind of see my pores, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's poreless. I guess as the day goes on, maybe it'll change, I don't know, but as right now, you know, I can still see my pores, so I don't know really so much about the poreless part of it, but it's definitely matte, it's definitely full coverage, and it can be built up to be, you know, very full coverage like how I have it now. So I do like it as per right now, but obviously that can completely change by the end of tonight. So like I said, it is about 12 o'clock now. It's actually, let me look. It's 12:04 right now. I'll check back in with you guys between 4 and 5 or so, and then again before I go to bed and kind of give you guys my final thoughts on how I like this foundation. So I will see you guys very soon. Hi my loves, so it is 4:43 right now, and I just got back from running some errands, and so far I actually really like the way this foundation is holding up. It did oxidize a little bit, so it is a little bit changed in the color, but besides that, I really like the foundation. It's holding up very, very well on my skin. I really have not seen a significant change in the way that it looked since I first applied it until now. So I am very impressed with it. It has stayed completely matte on my face and definitely full coverage. It hasn't really worn off at all. Again, keep in mind, I did use a primer and I did set it with a powder. And I do really like it so far. I really have nothing bad to say about it, although, like I said, it did oxidize a little bit, really not a lot. The color didn't change all that much, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem, like not as big of a problem as I feel like I have to go back and get a lighter shade or anything like that. The only thing is that I don't find it to be poreless, because it says it's supposed to be matte and poreless. I can still definitely see my pores. I don't really have big pores, and I didn't use a primer that fills in my pores, so I don't know, it doesn't really bother me when you can see my pores. It's not like they're big gaping holes or anything, but I don't find that this foundation fills in my pores for me, so I wouldn't say that it's necessarily poreless, but full coverage and matte it absolutely is. So in my book, it's a-okay. I do like it so far. That could change because I've only had it on for about 4 hours or so now. So by the time I talk to you guys much later tonight, that could change. It could have like completely worn off at that point. So I guess we'll have to see. But so far, I really do like it. So like I said, I'll check back in with you guys in a couple more hours before I do go to bed for the night and give you guys my final thoughts on it. Hi my loves, so I'm back with my final update. It is 10:54 p.m. right now. So I've had some time to kind of gather my thoughts on the foundation and kind of how I like it. I do like the foundation. I do think that I will continue to use the whole bottle of it, but it's definitely not going to be a foundation that I'm reaching for every day. Definitely not a holy grail or the best foundation I've ever tried, or even the best foundation I've ever tried from the drugstore. I don't really think it's all that great, to be honest with you. One thing that I noticed is the foundation does oxidize for sure. For me, the foundation shade that I got was actually a little light for me, which actually ended up working because when the foundation oxidized throughout the day, it did become darker and did kind of adjust to a shade that was closer to actually the shade that's on my neck. But if you're in between shades, keep that in mind. I definitely wouldn't go for the darker shade. I'd go for the lighter shade because this foundation absolutely does oxidize and get darker throughout the day. If you don't know what oxidize means, it just basically means the foundation does change color throughout the day, and this one does get darker as the day goes on, as the time it's been on your face. how it is now, I have not done anything to it since I first applied it this morning. So I can see that I do have some shine and some of the breakage of the foundation on my nose area. That's kind of the only area of my face that if I'm gonna get any shine or any type of oil, my nose is where it will come. And I can see the foundation is breaking up a little bit on my nose. Not significant or anything at all, but if you're someone that has really oily skin, I think it probably would be pretty significant on you if you didn't go ahead and apply more powder throughout the day or a setting spray or something like that. I could foresee that being an issue. But all in all, I do think that the foundation did hang on to my skin pretty well. I don't really see many places where it's come off. It still looks pretty good in my opinion. I don't think it looks horrible. It doesn't completely wash off my face like I've had some drugstore foundations do. It's definitely still on there. It definitely still looks full coverage and kind of gives my face a nice coverage, but I can see around my nose area kind of parts where it's starting to come off a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for $6.99, I think it is a good foundation. If you're new to makeup or you want something super cheap, I would go for this. Another thing that I said before is that this foundation definitely isn't poreless, so I don't know where they got that from because I can still clearly see my pores. Like I'm sitting kind of far away from a mirror now and I can clearly see them in the mirror. You know, so I don't know why it says poreless. It is matte, it is full coverage, it will stay on, so I would say that it's long wearing, but it does oxidize and it's not poreless in the least bit, so I don't know why they say that. I don't see it that it filled in my pores at all. But like I said, I do like the foundation. I think for $6.99, you know, what can you really expect? I didn't think it was gonna be like a showstopper. I think for an affordable foundation from the drugstore, this is a good pick. It does have a broad shade range. I would like to kind of try out the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, the original one, to see how I think that kind of compares to this matte and poreless one. Maybe I like the original one better. I don't really know. But like I said, I do think I will use up the rest of it, but I probably will not repurchase it, and definitely not a holy grail of mine or anything like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of first impressions. Obviously, if my opinion on this changes over time, I will update you guys and maybe I'll do a full review on the foundation once I get to try it out for longer, because this is only one day. So a lot of times my opinions on products can change. But as of right now, I don't really think it's the greatest, but I don't really think it's the worst. It's kind of an average foundation in my opinion from the drugstore. So yeah, I hope you guys found this interesting and beneficial to you. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye!